Hello, welcome to the West Ham Way YouTube. Myself, Mark Carlaw. I'm joined by Mr. Dan Woffenden, who works exclusively as well for the West Ham Way, giving us analyses. And you do that on Patreon, don't you, Dan? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, Mark. Yeah, just on Patreon. Every week, really, in the new season when we're playing teams and analysing them and their strengths, weaknesses, and then throughout the summer as well, I've been doing analysis on new signings. So Scamacca will be coming soon as well when I've
Yeah,
got the
yeah.
time. And another one. So it's really good. I'm enjoying it.
That's brilliant, mate. It's brilliant. And also, you were a journalist as well, wasn't you? You certainly studied sports journalism, I've noticed as well. So, and when you have appeared, I know you appeared on the podcast not too long ago with Dave and X, and yeah, very insightful. And some of the things you come up with, it's really interesting actually to get your take on things, I must say.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's sports journalism is a tough industry to make your mark, and I've been just doing
Yeah,
this on Twitter through lockdown. Really, I just started it as kind of just getting my opinions out there. I was quite into stats anyway, so I thought I'd combine the two.
yeah.
Luckily, it hit off a bit, and now on Twitter, the engagements seem to be doing really well. But it's good to as well meet new connections on there and just connect with the West Ham community like I have with you as well. So I've met some good people on there.
Oh, that's brilliant, mate. No, you do very well, and as you say, like you're quite a prominent figure as well in the social media community as well. So nice, you're doing really well. So before we get into obviously the excitement at the moment, we've got some new faces arriving at the club, and we've got some linked heavily with some others as well. I just wanted to speak to you, Dan, really about your sort of connection with West Ham, where it all started for you. So can you take us back to where it all began?
Good question. Yeah, so I don't have a typical Cockney accent, if you like. You probably noticed that when you met me, but
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I
I'm
did know.
initially from Leeds in the north. Basically,
Mm,
I was born there, and I live in Preston at the moment. But I've been
mm,
there, and ever since my dad was younger, he was into the players like Trevor Brooking, Bobby Moore, and he was
mm.
from down south, so he went to watch them, and then from there, I just never knew anything else really. I kind of grew up. I'm a season ticket holder now. I've been since I was about 14, 15. We travelled down there like every weekend. Sorry, basically in a day we did it, which is quite a long day. But I've never known anything else. So from there, um, so yeah, that's basically my background at West Ham. But I wouldn't have it any other way.
Oh, mate, that's brilliant. I love stories like that. It's nice to hear people that have come from sort of different backgrounds but end up at West Ham. I think it's really special. And yeah, I mean, I've seen you around obviously a couple of times around the ground. I've seen you obviously at the pre-match events as well. So I'm sure we'll bump into each other again very soon.
Of course.
Regarding then where we are now, I mean, we've got two back-to-back, very positive seasons at the club. Before we start
Yeah.
talking about the season coming up, looking back then over the last 2 years, how good a job in your eyes is David Moyes doing for the football club?
Good question. Yeah, such a good job because obviously when he came back, I mean, people, including myself in this, were a bit reluctant to have him back.
Mm,
Obviously, first time around, he did what he was asked to do. He kept us up. The football
mm,
sometimes was ugly, but he had a limited squad at his disposal. So
yeah,
I was reluctant to have him back, but he's proved most West Ham fans wrong, I think, with what he's done. What he's done with a limited squad, but now he's deservedly, being backed. And the fact that he's led us to our records point tally in the Premier League ever, I think it is, and the Europa League last season as well, beating some very strong outfits, Leon and
yeah.
teams like that are no mugs by any means. Sevilla as well, won it 6 times. So I think to beat them in the way we did, and whilst doing that with a limited squad, I mean, we'll touch on him later, but only having Antonio as a out and out recognised striker as well, and the job
Yeah.
he's done and the way he's kind of progressed players as well, I think it's great to see. And yeah, he's been fantastic, and it's good to see now that he's been backed as well because I think he deserves it.
Absolutely, mate. I mean, yeah, totally share that. I mean, I like you. I think a lot of people, and I was certainly on that side of the fence in terms of when he came back. I just thought it was a cheap option from the club, a bit quick fix, and didn't really see any positive outcome from it. But I'm so glad I was proved wrong, and I genuinely think he could be. He's in line to be certainly in our lifetime. I think could be the best manager we've had. I mean, obviously got Harry Redknapp, gave us some good memories, but ultimately Moyes just seems to have a really good fit, doesn't he, for the football club? I don't know. There's a good feel about him at West Ham.
Yeah, it's just tailor made for him. I think, like Everton, I think obviously
Mm,
after they went to Manchester United, it was kind of a poison chalice after Ferguson. No manager immediately going there after him was going to replicate what he did. They were always going to have kind of a transitional period, and he ultimately it wasn't the right job for him. Then he tried to rebuild at Sunderland, when again that was a bit of a poison chalice. Then he tried something new in Spain, which was an unusual move to get his career back on track, and it didn't work. But we are tailor made for him, yeah, in terms of the fit, the budget that we have, where we want to go, the projects that we're on as well. And he's kind of, he's helped us, but we've helped him as well to re-establish himself as one of, the Premier League's best, most recent managers. I'd fair to say, I think.
I agree. I mean, I think you look at him now in terms of where he was as well. As you say, he had the Manchester United job, and obviously things went a little bit pear-shaped for him career-wise. It just feels like, you say, it's a good fit for him, and it's great to see he's managed to turn things around for his own career, and I'm just really pleased for him. Dan, we've signed a striker. I can't believe I'm saying it. West Ham United have actually signed a striker. Gianluca Scamacca has signed. Obviously, you're obviously going to provide an update for us on Patreon on this, but I just wanted to pick your brains a little bit on the YouTube channel regarding him. What are your thoughts on Scamacca? Is it? I mean, are we going to win the league? That's basically what I'm asking.
Yeah, of course, of course. I was annoyed to start with, not around the rumours of Scamacca, but the fact that everyone compares him to Haller just because he's over 6 foot, and that outlets are saying that he's going to be similar to him in terms of the style of play. I think it's kind of a lazy viewpoint, to be honest. Haller is a good player. He showed that at Ajax, obviously, at the moment, what's going on. It's unfortunate with him, and Dortmund signed him and all of that. But he has proved that he is a good player and his quality there. Some players just don't ultimately suit the Premier League for whatever reason. We tried to tweak our system with Haller, play to his strengths, and at times he scored some great goals, didn't he? But
he did,
ultimately, for the price tag and stuff and the club record signing, it didn't really work. But going back to Scamacca, he's completely different. He's the 50th striker actually we've signed under Golden Sullivan, and of the previous, how many have failed to score? 20 players have failed to score. The previous
20 strikers have failed to score a goal.
Yeah, under Golden Sullivan. So there's no pressure on the lad. But he's one of Italy's biggest talents, to say. Obviously, at the moment, they've got the likes of Chiesa, they've got other players coming through, the young players, and he's earned some special praise from Mancini. I don't know if you've seen it, where he said that he has the potential, basically, to be a complete striker. Because some strikers over 6 foot, they are quite limited in terms of they're not blessed with pace, are they? But this guy seems to have a combination of the fact that he's deceptively quick. I mean, from the video clips doing the rounds, you can tell that in terms of his off-the-ball movement. On the ball as well. Actually, last season, he had a dribble success of 70%, which is fairly impressive for his stature. Heading dual success, obviously, the fact that he doesn't really need to jump much because he towers over every single defender, but that was 57%, which is respectable. Goals, he outperformed his XG, so he got 10.8 XG and he scored 16 goals. And some of them goals as well over the years, the likes of Genoa or Sassuolo as well, where he's been. I think it was Hellas Verona last season in Serie A, where he has the ability to make something out of nothing. The ball was fired into him. He did a scissor kick, or another goal he scored. It was fired into him. He chested it up, and then in one motion kind of volleyed it into the net. Or the goal against, was it Inter or AC Milan, where he received it from deep, providing that dialogue with the midfield. Nothing was really on for him, but he decided, you know what, I'll have a go, I'll have a crack. And he has got the ability to be a game changer, as well as provide that dialogue with the midfield. I mean, he said in his interview, he's comfortable playing outside the box as well as in it. He's not afraid to shoot. And I think from that interview as well, what comes across to me straight away when watching it is that he's a quietly determined character. He's not cocky. He's confident in his own ability. He's got a point to prove. He's been nurtured by the likes of Van Nistelrooy and Mancini, who were two very good strikers back in their heyday as well. So I think Scamacca's got a point to prove. I don't think it's a very high fee in terms of the resale value you may get with a 23-year-old. The fact that he's keeping Mario Balotelli out of Italy's national side as well speaks volumes. But in terms of overall mark, in terms of last season, goals per 90, he was 5th in Serie A. Shots on target per 90, he was 6th. Goals per shot, he was 8th in Serie A last season. So you've got one hell of a player there. There's a lot of pressure on him, but I think reducing Antonio's workload as well, they will help each other. Antonio will help him. So I think initially, it's a very good signing and one I'm happy with.
It's exciting to hear, mate. My knowledge of him is quite limited, really. I think a lot of people. I mean, I've seen him play a few times for Italy. I didn't watch him too much from last season, but I've been sort of catch up on his goals. And what I quite like about him as well is he seems to have the ability to get a shot away really fast, you know, and a quality strike as well. Which reminds me a little bit of Jermaine Defoe a little bit. You know, he used to have that kind of ability to sort of take the ball down and turn and shoot. And I think I just got this feeling he's going to be a really decent player for us. I don't know what it leaves in terms of Brozier. I don't know whether West Ham are going to pursue that any further. I'd like to think we are. Do you know what I mean? But I just don't know whether that's going to be doable now. You know. What was your thoughts on that? Would you lean more to the Brozier side, or was you happy with the Scamacca deal?
I was leaning towards Brozier personally because he destroyed us for Southampton last season, didn't he? In 2 games, you never really saw Craig Dawson struggle to an extent, but Brozier, both games, he caused him all sorts of problems. I mean, there's more to it than that, but I thought Brozier, and I still do think he has the ability to become a complete striker. And I think he'll look at that Chelsea starting striker spot now and think, I can actually get that, because Timo Werner's not really firing. He never really has for Chelsea. So Brozier would have been my first choice over Scamacca, because obviously Brozier has Premier League experience as well. He's got more of not more of a determination, but equally as determined as Scamacca. But yeah, I was leaning towards the Brozier side more, to be honest. But you know, you can't really argue with Scamacca. Ultimately, Chelsea didn't really want to do any business with us, and that can be very difficult in the transfer market. So no, it's a great day of business.
That's excellent. Another player, Philip Kostic, who we are now being heavily linked with from Frankfurt. I mean, there's a lot of tying up there, sort of saying, well, if we can get Kostic in, and then you've got someone like Scamacca in the middle, to take in on his deliveries and things like that, receive his deliveries from Kostic. I mean, is this something that really excites you? I mean, looking at the player himself, I think would fit in very well with our system. I'm not quite sure where, though. This is a big debate with West Ham fans in terms of, would he come in as a left back? Would he be a left winger? Where would he fit? Dan, what's your view on this? Where do you think he would fit if we are to get this deal over the line?
I could see us, if we got Kostic, possibly changing system to a back 5 with wing backs. Obviously, Kufal on the right and probably Kostic on the left, and Cresswell would come out the team. Kostic isn't naturally a flat left back. He's kind of transitioned over the years at Frankfurt from a winger, a left midfielder, to a left wing back under Oliver Glasner, and it's worked really well. Obviously, last season when he played us, he was kind of making them lung busting runs, wasn't he? Up and down the pitch, and he has the ability, he has that knack as well to find half space, crosses really well, and just the little gaps on the left foot. Even though he is all left-footed, he has no right foot. Still, sometimes it's very difficult for players to stop him. Ultimately, but I think that's initially where he would fit in, and I understand David Moyes' point of view. I think I saw that Moyes likes the fact that he can play anywhere on that left side. I think ultimately the club need a replacement for Cresswell long term. I mean, we've seen a mistake against Rangers the other day. I mean, it's nothing to go off really. I think Cresswell's a consistent performer, but that's what the club will be looking to do. And I think Kostic can do that, but he's not a left back by trade, but he's more of a left wing back.
Fair enough. I mean, I think that's kind of the feel I'm getting from the fans as well, is that, he wouldn't be the answer if we wanted a left back. So I think you're right. I think it does kind of indicate if Kostic is going to be coming in, and it does appear that West Ham are really pushing for that deal. So it'd be interesting to see how it materialises. I think the player might have a few reservations about giving up Champions League football. Was what X has told us on Patreon. But at the moment, I believe we're offering a very good deal to the player. So hopefully it might be enough to get it over the line. But it'd be interesting. Another one is Zielinski from Napoli. So attacking midfielder. I'm not too sure about this and how this is going to fit in with our midfield at the moment and attacking players. It's, from my point of view, it appears then that he's going to be coming in to replace another. I can't imagine we're going to add any more to that role. What's your feelings of him?
I like him. I can't confess I've seen too much of him, to be honest with you. But I think last season for Napoli, in terms of creating actions per 90 and shot creating actions. He was second behind Insigne.
Okay.
So he's quite creative from that point of view as well. He reminds me of Pablo Fornals a bit when I have seen him, in the fact that he's quite skillful. He's a good ball carrier. He works hard for the team. Defensively, he covers a lot of ground as well. And it's clear, like you say, that Moyes really wants him, that the club, regard him as an exceptional player. I mean, is he 28 now, I think? And
yeah,
I like that. Like you said, I think there's competition there. I don't think it's an immediate position we need to strengthen. I think central midfield is more where we need to strengthen, a left back as well, and possibly another winger. But I guess, we have to trust David Moyes' judgment of the players he wants and what Rob Newman identifies as well, because they'll be in constant dialogue. And if that's the player they want to go for, I'm all behind it, because I think Moyes' signings, the majority of them, maybe excluding Vlasic and Carlaw, have been very good players for us and will continue to be.
You touched on Vlasic there. What's your feelings on him this season? I mean, do you think his time's done at West Ham? Do you think he's going to be moved on, or do you think there's an opportunity here for him again to prove himself? What's your feelings?
You know what, Mark? I said this to my dad last season. There's a good player in there. I was at Sevilla away last season, and he started. It was a massive game for him. It was a surprise call as well from David Moyes, because it was him or Benrahma, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah.
And he had that chance that he should have scored, and that possibly could have turned his West Ham career around a bit in terms of giving him confidence. He should have scored it. There's no excuse. But I thought he played well that game. And I know it's one game, but he's clearly a very strong player in terms of when he's receiving the ball, back to front in the defender. And I do like him. I do see a player there. I do. Whether Moyes is willing to try that out more, if Zielinski comes in, that's Vlasic maybe gone. I'm not sure, but I don't know. He needs to play more in his natural position, which is just behind the striker. I think last season, David Moyes kind of just shoehorned him onto that left-hand side, and that didn't really suit him. When he was at CSKA Moscow as well, when he thrived, he was just behind the striker. He made runs beyond the striker as well, and that really worked. And that could work with Scamacca, in fairness, as well, because Scamacca likes to drop deep and sometimes drag a defender out. And Vlasic is a very strong runner in behind, as he was in Russia during his time there. So that may be behind David Moyes' thinking, and Vlasic could thrive off Scamacca more as well. But I don't know if he'd be given that chance, unfortunately. But I would personally keep him and give him another season in that role where he thrives, because I think on his day, he's shown glimpses of a very good player.
I agree. I actually really do agree. I'd actually be really sad if we were to let him go. I think, and as well as not only even from glimpses we saw last season, because I don't think he got given much of a chance. And as you say, when he did get a chance, he played out of position, really felt. So, yeah, I thought it was a bit hard done by him for him. But even in pre-season, you look at him now, he seems to be playing very well. He come back fit. He looks hungry. I mean, whether he's playing for a move, of course, that could be the case. He's putting himself in the window. But yeah, personally, I would love to see him get more of a chance at West Ham.
That's enough as well, sorry, is that last season when he joined, he obviously didn't have a full pre-season with us. So that can sometimes catch up on a lot, especially if you pick up a knock or something, that can take you behind schedule. So I think him having a full pre-season under his belt now, really getting fit, doing work in the summer or whatever, and then coming back for the start of the Premier League season, you might just see that extra bit more sharpness to his game that perhaps he lacked last season. So that's to take into account as well. Of course, like you said, he might be playing for a move. Obviously, Torino are linked with him for a loan move. I'm not sure we'll be able to kind of get back the fee we paid for him. What was it, 35 million, I think it was.
Yeah, it was quite a hefty price, wasn't it?
Hefty, yeah. So it remains to be seen, but I agree with you. I'd personally give him another chance, because I don't really think he's had it yet. I think he's had glimpses of a chance. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are quite exciting times for us West Ham fans. I think we're all getting a little bit, excited about the season coming up. And I think, the club seems to be showing a bit of ambition out there now, which I think we've all been hungry to see. I know last season we was disappointed in January. Felt that we should have maybe pushed on. We don't want to dwell on that, though. But looking this summer, it does feel like we do mean business. Rob Newman seems to be delivering. What's your thoughts on so far as a whole, so far for the business that the club have done?
Very good. Very, very good. I think it's been one of our best windows in a long time, possibly since the window where we signed Lanzini, Payet, and Antonio. I think in all one window, was
Yeah,
it?
that was magical, wasn't it?
That
Yeah.
was unreal. Yeah, rated, but very good because obviously Areola. We needed a goalkeeper. I can't imagine Randolph staying for much longer. Hopefully, anyway. Downs was obviously on my analysis. He's a good player, proven himself in the Championship. We needed a kind of a tenacious midfielder like Mark Noble, comfortable receiving the ball, and just an added option as well next to Rice and Souček because of the amount of games they play. And I think for Downs' hunger and what he wants to step up, he's a West Ham fan. The fee we paid for him, I think it was pretty much a no-brainer. A smart signing as well, just as an understudy really to Rice and Souček. I think Downs is a very good addition. And then obviously you've got Scamacca, who's obviously the club's first striker signing in 1,000 plus days. So
he's got 1,000 years. It feels like,
I'm happy so far. We just need to add a few more, but it's been a positive window so far, and the club are showing real intent to get signings over the line.
Yeah, I agree. I think ambition was a key word. We've all sort of been moving around the club for quite some time, and I think it feels like they're living up to that a little bit. And I think as well, and hopefully it sends the right messages to the likes of Rice and Bowen that, you know what, I'm at a right club here. We are going in the right direction. And I don't think treading water is something we're happy to do. I think we want to keep pushing on. So, no, it's exciting. I'm going to put you on the spot now, mate, before you go. This season ahead, what's your predictions? Where do you see West Ham at the end of the year, end of the season?
6th. I think we'll finish above Chelsea.
Do you?
I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think. I don't know why. I just have this feeling. I think Chelsea have had an okay window. Obviously, Sterling's one of the signings of the window. He's very underrated. Koulibaly, I'm not really so sure on. They're obviously failing with Jules Koundé, getting a move for him. They failed with another defender as well. So I think Tuchel's finding it really frustrating, and I think the cracks are beginning to appear more at Chelsea. So I think we'll finish above them. Obviously, we've got the Europa Conference League as well to take into consideration. But last season, that didn't really seem to affect us, and we were in a stronger competition with better sides than the Conference League. So if we continue to add players and have a stronger squad this season, there's no reason why we can't finish 6th or 5th. But I think gut feeling will finish 6th because you've got the likes of Arsenal, Tottenham, Man United, Liverpool, and Man City, who will take points off, but I can't see us finishing above. So I think that's where we'll finish. Yeah. What about you?
What do I reckon? I mean, do you know what? I was talking to someone earlier about Chelsea, and I echo what you say. I can see some problems at that football club. Not only because obviously we're seeing these issues with bringing players in, and there seems to be a little bit of unrest there. I think this new owner could be a bit of a problem for them as well. I might be jumping the gun there, but I just think he's a very hands-on owner. He comes across a little bit like a David Sullivan to me, maybe a little bit controlling. I don't think that's going to go down very well with Thomas Tuchel having an owner breathing down his neck and wanting to get involved in everything and everybody. And I think that's when we look at the whole brochure chase, it seems that the owner was very heavily involved in the meetings, heavily involved in guaranteeing game time. And I don't know, I'm looking back at it, standing outside thinking that looks like a David Sullivan to me. And we know the issues that caused West Ham. And I don't know. And I think as well, because you've got a new owner as well, there always tends to be a lot of change and a bit of unrest. And maybe you're right. Maybe this is going to be a season where actually they're not going to hit the ground running, Chelsea. I think they might run into a few problems. But if I'm being honest, I think I've got a feeling we might finish 7th this season. I think we might be the same. As long as we stay in that European spots and keep where we are, I think then the sort of next 2 to 3 seasons are key, that we just stay in that where we are now. We don't move away from it, because I think if we can stay there for that length of time, I think suddenly then we're going to be seen as a club that's really quite part of the elite a little bit. We're cementing ourselves there. So, yeah, that's my gut feeling. And I'd really love to see us win a cup now. A League Cup, really go for it. Or who knows, even the Conference League. We should be one of the favourites, you'd think, already. Yeah,
we've got the ability. I mean, last season, if you look, Leicester got really far and they were fairly poor last season, weren't they? They didn't have a great season. And they might struggle this season as well. So I think, like you said, we've definitely got it in us to win the cup or definitely the Conference League for sure.
That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Be absolutely amazing. Yeah. Dan, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate, having you on, as always. Obviously, we'll see you at the pre-match events, and we'd love to get you on here again very soon.
Cheers, Mark. Thanks for having me.
No worries, mate. You take care. Cheers.